There we go. All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, Lauren. So wonderful to be here with you once more. And hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. If you don't know me, my name is Jake. I'm a hypnotherapist and a quantum guide, and I use hypnosis in a variety of ways. We're not focused entirely on hypnosis today. We're talking about the Christ light and the Christ consciousness energy. And I'm so excited to welcome Lauren back to the channel. So Lauren, do you want to share a little bit about yourself or anything you want to share with the audience before we dive into today's show?
Yes, well, first off, hello, Jake. It's just such a pleasure to be back here with you again, having these beautiful co-transmissions and conversations. It's just so joyful. So thank you for having me back. And hello to everyone watching this live. Hello, beautiful ones. I am going to be bringing through the light language throughout our conversation, just going to let it flow. So I am a divine emissary of light. I'm here to be a bridge, and I bring through all different types of energy transmissions to help bridge the higher dimensions and the beautiful ascended masters and star family and angelics and beautiful cosmic beings who are constantly present and wanting to support us and help us in our divine awakening. So just such a joy to be here and to be talking about the Christ light and the Christ consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely the time of year. I feel like most people, regardless of their belief systems, I feel like the Christ energy is present and most people can feel it in one way or another, whether it's more of that giving nature or just being more philanthropic, or if it's, really tapping into that Christ consciousness yourself. And so I feel like there's a lot of different ways that people tap in and engage with this energy. I feel like a good place to start is definitely around what do we mean when we talk about Christ light, Christ consciousness. And I'd love to hear what your knowing is around that as well, Lauren. So if you wanted to share anything on that point.
Yes. So the Christ light is a frequency. It's a very pure state of consciousness. And essentially, at the most basic level, it is pure, unconditional love directly from Source Creator. And there have been many beings on our earth, which we might call the Ascended Masters, and other beings as well, who have come and mastered themselves when they've been in embodiment as a human on earth. And all of them have embodied unconditional love or the Christ light at some point within their journey of mastery. And of course, one of those beings was Jesus or Master Yeshua. Mm-hmm. And another one that I'm very connected with is Master Kuan Yin also. So these beings were able to embody unconditional love. And through that embodiment of that frequency, they were able to do miraculous things. The transformation of energy healing. And these are beautiful, beautiful gifts from Source Creator. So the Christ light is an incredible frequency to connect with. Anyone can connect with the Christ light. You don't have to be associated with any type of religion. It is not religion-based at all. These types of frequencies are fifth dimensional and higher. They are not connected with any type of dogma or anything like that we have on earth. It is way, way beyond that. And yes, that seed of unconditional love, that is what the masters brought through all of their different lineages of light. And the Christ light is a very specific ray that Master Yeshua did seed here at his particular time on his timeline. And Master Yeshua was a high-level initiate. He had lots of spiritual preparation before he came to earth to fulfill his mission of literally bringing back the ray of Christ, the Christ light, to this planet, to Gaia, to the grids. And again, I'll say this, masters always say this, unconditional love. Love is the highest truth, because unconditional love is the presence, the essence of Source creation. It is pure, pure love. So that's my most basic understanding or explanation of the Christ light. When I bring it through in one-to-one sessions with clients, I am always in awe and in great honor of this frequency. It brings in the quality of divine grace and absolute acceptance of all that is. So it has the ability to literally dissolve people's karma, to dissolve deep soul wounds. It literally lifts people's energetic burdens in a very profound way. So I am always in awe of it. And I always find myself sort of stepping back at a certain point in a session with a client who's receiving the Christ light, because I'm just in deep honoring of it. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to connect people directly with the Ascended Masters like Kuan Yin, Master Yeshua, Mary Magdalene. And people really feel in my sessions the direct, tangible energy of these masters, which I'm just so joyful. It just makes me so happy that people can reconnect with the masters in that way. And then they can go off on their own now that they have that feeling of connection and go and continue to get guidance and meditate with the masters themselves. Yeah. And recently, I held space for the last live transmission of 2025, which was the Christ Light Blessing event. So that's gathering a group online on Zoom to directly experience the blessings of the Christ Light at the December solstice. And that's now a yearly tradition. So I really look forward to that every year. And this year I had the pleasure of Jake and Corbin attend that live event. So I'd love if Jake could share anything that you'd like to share with your audience about your experience with the Christ Light at that event.
Absolutely. And for those of you who missed it live, you can still get the replay of it, and it's still as powerful. So if you go to Lauren's website, you can go to the events and activations, and it's right here, the Christ Light Blessings 2025. And I definitely highly recommend it. It was not what I expected it to be, which is oftentimes, I feel like, the experience when you go into these sorts of spaces and energies. I went into this like very excited and found myself, for lack of a better term, kind of numb throughout a good portion of the meditation. And at first I was kind of being self-critical and was like, "Ugh, you're just not, you're not dropping in, you're not letting, you're not letting the mental stuff go." There was a little bit of that, but what I realized as I sat there and I sat with that feeling, I realized that there was still some blocks in my own body, and um, that I was closing myself off from this Christ light and from like the fullness of the transmission, at least on a conscious level, because of that. What I realized was deeper religious trauma. And for those of you who watch my channel, you may or may not know that I come from a very Christian background, and there's a lot of things that I really have come to appreciate about that upbringing and the information and the ways of loving people and caring for those around us, and a lot of great things that I gained from it. But also a lot of things wrapped up in my self-worth, my acceptance by the group, and a lot of the shortcomings of the people kind of clouding the accuracy of that Christ energy. And I have found my way back to a little bit more of a connection with that energy. And I've definitely been working through consciously a lot of at least the conscious awareness that I have of these blocks and what I've gone through. But I realized that there was still some locked in the body. And so I went through the meditation, which there was definitely a point where the colors and like the visualizations that I was experiencing did deepen, and some of that numbness left, but there still wasn't the emotional flow that I was expecting. And it wasn't until afterwards, when we all sat up and we're sharing with the group our experiences where I literally just said the words religious trauma and I started tearing up, and the emotions started rolling at that point. And it was a moment of, I felt a little silly because I was like, come on, the meditation would have been the moment for this. But, the body knows. And I think there's deeper layers that will be unfolding as we move through this season. And I can definitely feel a difference between before and after the meditation experience with it. And especially as you were talking today and talking about the Christ light, all I could do was just have my hand on my heart, and I could just feel that love and that just beautiful energy. And so yeah, that was a little bit of my experience. Like I said, at one point, and I can't remember the exact details because I was kind of caught up in the emotions of it afterwards, and so I didn't write everything down. Um, but it was such a beautiful energy. And I know that the group that came together for the event, we all felt it in slightly different ways, and it came through in different different expressions for each of us. And I think that's a thing to keep in mind with any of these energies, the ways that you connect with, and the ways that the Christ light shows itself to you is going to be unique to you because you are a unique being, and the ways that you tap in and understand the energies are going to be what's best for your soul. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Yes, Tulunka. The Christ light goes really deep. Like, I'm trying to describe this, like this frequency of divine grace that the Christ light brings in. And the grace is so soft, so pure, that it just reaches deep into those parts of ourselves that are wounded, that are vulnerable. And the light wants to reach those places, those parts of us the most. So I think that is why a lot of people have a range of emotional reactions when they really allow themselves to fully receive the Christ light. And I've certainly experienced that for myself in very direct ways. I have an offering that I created called the White Rose Initiation, which is a set of transmissions. And the white rose represents the Christ light and the divine Sophia light of the Divine Mother. And I think I've actually mentioned this in one of our other conversations, but when the masters, as in Kuan Yin and Master Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, were coming to me and asking me to bring through these transmissions, I felt a closeness with them that I had never felt before. And it was so personal and almost intimate. And it was a big emotional release for me to connect with them that deeply. And I felt all this old energy being dissolved of old stories from other timelines when I had come in and it was really, times when it was really hard to be the light and bring the light. So yeah, that closeness was something that was coming in through when they were giving me the activations of the Christ light in a more deeper way and opening my heart even more and more and more. Yeah, it touched me in a way that I hadn't before. And that energy is all woven into all of the White Rose transmissions. And that's a lot of the feedback I get from the emissaries who are now representing the White Rose, like from that initiation. There's this deepening that happens. And a lot of the time when the Christ light comes in, there's always this message of giving ourselves the compassion, the forgiveness, the acceptance that we need. Because yes, it is important to also receive that from others or have that space held, but ultimately you can only give it to yourself. And that's what they hold, the Christ light masters and the Christ light holds for people, is like, it's okay now. You can let go, you can forgive, you can move on. Like, they really help you to transform those deep inner wounds, which is part of, I guess, the miracle of that divine grace. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've been thinking about the connections that I facilitate with clients with their higher selves. And, you know, the higher self has explained that there really is no distinction between higher self and source, and higher self and that pure high frequency energy of source creation, which from my understanding, the Christ light would be right around there, right with that kind
Yeah.
of that energetic frequency. And I think that it's really beautiful the ways that the higher self coming through for clients, the messages really echo that, and it really is around having compassion for yourself, understanding that everything that you've been through, whether you felt good about it or not, whether you wanted to be there or not, like these are all a part of your soul's growth. And it's really about loving yourself despite, and loving yourself through those moments, and being reminded too of all of the stories in the biblical depiction of Jesus, around where he really went out and he loved like those in the darkest places, and he chose those people to accompany him, or to spend time with them, and all of these people that society deemed as not, not worthy of that, and he really showed, no, everyone is worthy of that. And I think that the ways that that is echoed through the higher self, through the teachings and a lot of different spiritual traditions, I think it hammers home that really simple message of like love. It really is as simple as love. And the more that we can do that for ourselves, the more that that will be reflected back to us, because we are creating the reality around us. And when we lack that love for ourselves, or we're being critical of ourselves, we are more likely to draw in those people who are going to mirror that and be critical of us, or be critical of themselves, and that's energy is going to build. And doesn't mean that you
Mm.
can't have tough moments where you struggle with that, but it's about returning to the love, and returning to um, that connection that you have with source, with the Christ light, and remembering that you are so precious, and that you are so loved.
That's it. Exactly. It's always returning to love. That's how my guides and my higher self says it too. Just continually return to love, because that is the essence of who we really are. On earth, love is an emotion, and love has a range. There's all different types of love that we can feel as a human being. But obviously, it's not just an emotion, it's a state of being. And all returns to love. All the wounding and the duality and the chaos that we experience here is an illusion. And then when we come to the end of our life and we pass on to the next place, we see that very clearly. It's like our life here was a dream, and we were playing a character for a short time, and then we come back into our essence. We're like, oh wow, that was an interesting experience. And gosh, if you go onto YouTube and you search near-death experiences and people's experiences, they're absolutely fascinating. But they all come back with the same message: God is love.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a direct experience of it. And most of them come back to Earth with a completely renewed sense of who they are and what they're on Earth to do. And usually it's about being of service in some way. So if you're feeling down at all, go and watch those people's experiences. They are absolutely amazing. And yeah, it's the simple truth: God is love. So if you're coming back to that state, that essence, that's your true state. And everything else essentially is an illusion. Now, it doesn't mean it's not real and not really happening, because especially in painful stuff of like, yeah, I'm really feeling this, that this is real for me. And it is, because we came here to experience what we are and what we're not. And if you observe, like when there are big world events, like like a natural disaster that happens and a lot of people are suffering, what happens in those situations? People band together and help one another. And we are always in awe of how we come together when people are in need, every time. That's what we're meant to do. That's what we're inbuilt to do. And it's always the people on the ground, the communities, the local people that are helping one another. So I always love those beautiful demonstrations of our core essence of our humanity. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that the more that we celebrate and share our gratitude for that, I feel like it builds the momentum as well. We know that what we focus on grows, and we want to focus on the positive. And it's not about ignoring the negative, but it's about what do you give your energy on a day-to-day basis. And I definitely can see the ways that that shift has been challenging to do on a personal level, but is so rewarding when you do kind of get over the hump, because it's a constant practice. And I think especially in a world that is still grappling with duality, we are going to be faced with those moments where we dip down, or where we're pulled down, or where we're meant to go down. And it's about I'm reminded of, I can't remember who said it, but they were talking about this need to have us kind of dip down in frequency to bring our light down to that level and sort of like sprinkle it in. And it's this idea of, you know, more and more, I keep hearing people talking about going out in the world and interacting with people, and whether that be people doing in-person stuff more, or choosing to like build their community IRL more. I just feel like there's a lot of intention in that, and the ways that we can share the light in us, and bring that Christ energy through in a really real way, because I think that's part of those of us who are aware of that frequency, who feel it, who tap into it. It's part of our duty, I think, to bring that through and to share that as much as we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's while you can connect with the Christ light in meditations or transmissions, it's exactly what you're saying. We need to bring it into the real world, and bringing the Christ light can just be brought through in a smile, in a small gesture of kindness. Like those small moments, those are the profound ones. Like for me, for example, obviously it's coming up to Christmas, so going to the mall, okay, and buying gifts. And not my favorite thing to do, go to the mall, but I go. And I make sure that every like shop assistant, retail assistant that I'm interacting with, I am bringing them joy, connection. I'm appreciating them. One, because I used to work in retail, and it can be very debilitating and very draining. And two, I'm bringing the Christ light. I'm just bringing the light. And I know that just ripples out. I know the small acts of kindness are the most profound. Yes. And the great thing about Christmas time, the December solstice, is a lot of us are focused on those qualities, those higher qualities. So it amplifies greatly. And I can sense year to year how much it's amplifying more and more and more. It just keeps growing. And it does balance out a lot of the polarizing energy as well. The Christ light brings coherence and harmony to our collective consciousness, and to the grids of Gaia. And the masters did want to say that the Christ light here on earth is actually very well established already, in a way that it hasn't been in a long time. So if you're willing to tap into it, you will feel its power, its presence, and how you can direct it, how you can bring it into your life, bring it into your family, bring it to your loved ones, bring it to your community. And now the masters are just coming in a bit more here. So they're saying, even if you just say a silent prayer for someone, maybe a complete stranger, and just say, I just want the Christ light to be with that person, just if that's for their highest good. Christ light be with them. Christ light protect them. Christ light bring them a blessing, a miracle, and it will. It will go around them. It will be with them. Tikulet mata. And yes, as Jake was saying, this is part of our responsibility and our Our power of presence as light workers, as light emissaries, healers, is that we have free will and we can direct this energy very quickly, very precisely to where it needs to go. So use your power, use your presence, your free will to bring the light where it can be brought. Yes, and I thank you for it, beautiful ones, beautiful tribe who are already doing this every day. Thank you for embodying this, being this. Oh, you're so appreciated. You're so appreciated.
Yeah, and it really can be in the most surprising of places and with the most surprising of people. I had this recently where someone at my my part-time job lifeguarding, she just randomly out of the blue was like, I just have to tell you, your smile, when you smile at me every day, it just like lifts me up no matter what's going on. And so like, thank you so much. And it was just the sweetest thing. And I was really caught off guard because I mean, I've chatted with this person every once in a while, right? Uh, but to have someone say that aloud, I mean, people don't often express that these days. I feel like there are lots of walls up, and there's lots of fear or uncertainty or reservation around that like sharing from the heart. I think a lot of people have their hearts closed off, which I think is why it's so important for those of us who have been able to open our hearts up to continue to share that energy and um, that vibration. And I was reminded of during the meditation on Monday, the Christ light blessings. I had this visual of my heart chakra opening up like rose petals. You know, it was a opening up on the front and the back, and just the ways that I could feel the energy moving through, and like it was just it was very like portal-esque, for lack of a better term. It was just very, very powerful. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that I haven't always realized the gift that having an open heart is, but when you interact with those who have their hearts closed off, you start to realize that it is
Mm.
something that is best demonstrated, and that vulnerability and that openness and that love, sharing that love, encourages others to do the same. And I think is part of what we're all called to do more and more, those of us who are able to, and to the best of our abilities.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you're getting those beautiful confirmations about the light that you're spreading and embodying, because we need those from time to time. We're like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing
And thank
good.
you, Carol. I appreciate you confirming that for me. I appreciate you.
Yes, you have a radiant smile. Talish onora kayen. And like I know when I'm meeting someone who has that heart open, because I obviously feel it energetically, but I can see it in people's eyes.
Mm,
There's a light that comes from people's eyes when they're connected. I sort like when they're connected with their soul, they have their heart open. It's instant. And I've had so many times where I've just passed against strangers in the street, and it's almost like you just lock eyes, and there's that silent like nod, like, yeah, we're on the same page. And then that's it. We'll just continue on with our lives and probably never meet again.
hmm
But those are just, yeah, I love those magical confirmation moments. Um, yeah, amazing.
It is. It is. So I feel like for me it feels pretty intuitive to connect with that Christ light, but what sort of recommendations do you have for people in connecting themselves with this? Because it is something that you don't need a guide or a gatekeeper to let you in. You are connected with
Yeah,
that. I feel
yeah.
like connecting with love and getting in that frequency is, or like joy or laughter, like those would be good avenues in.
Yes, I was going to actually mention that those other, like the joy, the laughter, the playfulness, those are very high frequency states as well. Not everything has to be a meditation and sort of in silence, or that's also not how the Christ light work. This is all through that playful energy as well, because that opens people's hearts up as well. Um, I'm just going to close my eyes for a minute because I will just share the most simplest way to connect with this frequency. So the first is just to have a sincere intention to connect with it. It's like, I want to connect and feel the Christ light. And then just place your focus on your heart, or you might want to just put your hands over your heart. And the first thing you can start with is gratitude. Just bring to mind something you are genuinely grateful for, however big, however small. And then just notice any movement or sensation through your heart as you're bringing in that gratitude. Now, for me, my heart instantly actually expands. It feels like a balloon gets blown up. Or it might be like Jake was describing, these petals of your heart open, because energetically you do have the petals of your heart chakra open like a flower. It's exactly like that. And you can just say, I am grateful for this person, place, thing in my life. And I thank God for this person, place, thing. Thank you. And then you can continue from there to list things that you're grateful for, and then feel your heart continue to expand as the gratitude just builds and brightens. And as we're just going through this very brief exercise, the masters are present, of course. Master Yeshua, bringing the golden light around you. Master Kuan Yin, helping you open the petals of your heart. She brings the pink ray of pure divine love. More shotoyan. And then, yes, the masters bring in the white dove, an actual white dove to alight upon your heart. The dove represents the purity of the Christ light. Huyale. Huyano. Huyano. Liantu kayenwari. Yetalima. And you can just feel all this light from the masters and the Christ light just pouring into your heart. The Christ light is blessing you and blessing you, everything you're grateful for. And that which we bless multiplies. And God gives us more to be grateful for. And this is the flow of abundance. Yalushunura kanura kayen payotukuyenal yatukutu kitukushonorakatu. And from my heart as well, I just ask that the Christ light bless you this day in fullness and love. The golden light blessing you. And may this light reach your family, your loved ones, your community, the land on which you are living. And may this light amplify throughout the earth. Tukelun, bringing harmony, acceptance, and inviting us collectively to live from love. Tuayanal, 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 lush ongoyan, tielenoetikal, tunushuetien, talmina yaldulan, tikalush uno. So just breathe and stay with this frequency a little longer. And I'm just going to add this because I feel this coming from my heart, is that I ask that the Christ light reach those lands and those peoples who represent the wounded aspects of humanity collectively. Let the Christ light reach to those people, those places, those situations, to bring the light of love, to bring the light of God, the essence of God. And here you might just want to send the Christ light to a particular situation or a cause, or just send it to that place where your heart calls you to place it or send it. And just trust. You're meant to guide the energy there. Christ light protect, Christ light heal, Christ light bring balance, Christ light bring peace. Christ light elevate us into this higher octave of light, this higher operating system of love. This is what we are aiming for collectively. Yes, and so be it. So be it, so be it.
Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, it's hard to find words, I feel like, for the energies oftentimes, which makes sense. You know, we're dealing with and we're connecting with things beyond this physical reality, which is where our speech primarily exists. And so it's a translation. And I mean, I see this in my work where the higher self has a hard time at moments and explaining things or breaking things down in our language. And beyond that too, when clients have these experiences of tapping into other dimensional existences or tapping into their lifetimes or that consciousness that is still connected with source. I mean, I've had many clients go to these places where pretty much all they can say is, I'm surrounded by love. Like there's just light and color, and I just feel a part of it all. Like I don't feel any separation. Like there's not anyone else here,
Yeah.
but yet there is everyone else here. And yet they have a hard time explaining it beyond that, because it is a different state of existence than we are currently choosing to experience.
Yeah.
And so we can tap in and we can channel this energy to the fullest of our ability and our soul's expression, but we chose to be here as well. And so there are aspects of that we will only be able to understand and really embrace once we get there, you know?
Yeah. And I think this is also why we need artists and art, because art is that usually non-verbal. I mean, art is also verbal when it's written or a song, or we need those different communication channels to share these frequencies, these experiences with each other.
Mm,
When you're speaking, I'm being reminded of the movie Contact with Jodie
mm,
Foster. That's
yeah,
one of my favorite movies of all time.
good one.
And at the spoiler alert, she goes through this big portal machine, and she's literally going through a literal portal through space and time. And she's the one that's been chosen for this amazing experience out of all the scientists and all the people on the Earth. She is literally representing Earth. And she comes to this point in the tunnel where she sees the galaxy. I think it's Vega, the star system, and it is so beautiful, and its energy is just so incredible that she has no words to describe. And she's wearing a little recording device, and she doesn't know if it's working, but she just keeps talking through her experience, and she keeps saying they should have sent a poet, not a scientist. They should have sent a poet so they could describe and translate this experience, this visual. I love that moment of the movie, and that's exactly what we're trying to find the words to translate these energies. And look, that's why I love what I do, because I get to hold people in the frequency. They can just feel it directly.
Mhm.
And I can just be the contact point for that. And then you can go off and explore it from there. And like you were saying, you don't need anyone as a go-between between you and God, between you and the Christ light, or any of this. You can always tap into this directly with your intention, your free will, and some practice as well. It does take a little bit of practice and skill to get used to understanding and translating and deciphering between frequencies as well. And that's why there's people like us here, right? Just to kind of be a guidepost, show the way, be that bridge, that connection point.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Two things. One, I was laughing because right before you shared that story about Contact, and I didn't remember the details of the movie, you said art and like non written art, but I suppose there's written art too. And then I was like, poetry, it's poetry. And then you brought up the line about poetry, and I think that is that's the closest that our written or spoken language can get to explaining these things, when you really break it out of kind of the rules or the rigid structure that we need to be able to understand each other in this current moment. But I think that's starting to break down. I think a lot of us are starting to have more of those moments of connecting to the same thought or the same idea or the same energy. And so yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Corbin saying we should watch the movie after the holidays. I agree. I agree. um I was going to share something else. Oh, well, while you were talking about the expansion of our heart and the different ways that might show up, I just kept
Mm.
getting the visual of the Grinch, where his heart grows and it like breaks out of the frame of the like scanner or whatever, in the cartoon version I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
I think that it is such a perfect movie for the energies of like remembering your connection to the Christ light. And you can quote me on that.
Yes.
Grinch is a perfect example of this. Um, because it is,
Yeah.
it's that remembering, oh wait, I do have a heart in here, and what if I let it shine? What if I, instead of, living from this place of lack and um bah humbuggery, right? Like you are sharing the love, and you're realizing that the connections that you have are what are important, and that being a part of, you know, the community is what part of what we're meant to be doing here. And of course, there are exceptions to the rule, and there's someone out there whose life purpose is to go off and live as a hermit. But most of us came here to
Yep.
experience community in one way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah. Most of us came here to learn in relation to others. That's what we, to interact and to, I guess, bounce off each other, be mirrors for each other. Because like you were describing, when your clients are trying to describe what it's like to be in that sort of state of awareness where you're so close with source, like when you go to the other side out of this human experience, you do go back into that feeling of oneness where you're still an individual being with your own thoughts and desires and all of that, but you feel that connection with absolutely everything. Kaluso nora kayen nora. So this is a very, Earth is a very specific playground of so many energies where everything is on offer. The buffet is like full. So we get to decide what we want to experience. And sometimes we do need to be a hermit for a while, especially us introverts like me. But yes, we can't really get around interacting and the interconnectedness of being human with other humans. It's just part of who we are. And we are hardwired for that, biologically we are as well. You can't really bypass it fully. Yeah.
I loved to that we spent a moment sending that Christ light to those sort of expressing the darker sides of humanity, or who are maybe expressing the deepest wounds of humanity. When you were bringing that through, I was reminded of a session that I did with Corbin, actually, and I'm working on trying to share this session, but the audio was not great for it. But we explored a future lifetime that he had as an angelic, as an angel. And at one point he was kind of describing the other beings and sort of the hierarchy of it all. And he was talking about the angels with black wings who lived beneath the earth, and that they were a part of the whole kind of orchestration of energetic transmutation and anchoring, and that while they technically were like what we would consider demons or fallen angels, they were expressing that negative polarity, that darker energy, and were working in concert with the light, because there was this understanding of the balance needed, and that in this current future, or this future timeline that we were exploring, there had been cataclysm on Earth, and there was a need to rebalance and to bring the light back in. And say all this because I was reminded of that necessity for the full expression, and how it is so hard for us to look at some of the darker things happening in this world, or even, not even like the horrific things, just like the darker experiences that humans can go through, in the ways that they can harm themselves and put themselves through these really dark experiences. And yet they are a part of the full expression. And so we can't fully understand or appreciate or express that Christ light, that source light, that higher frequency, without the opposite and the other side of things. At least not in the ways that dualism is reflected in our reality at this moment.
Yeah, because that's why you really have to work to not judge what others are experiencing, because just because it looks dark or evil or whatever that is, they're still being a source creation, and they're having their own experience. And Earth, again, does offer every kind of polarity within the spectrum of light to dark, if you want to look at it like that. Love and fear. There is no being that is outside of source. And this is something that the masters challenged me to bring into my perspective, that, for example, the ones that we call, the cabal or the dark ones, they are doing terrible, terrible things and acting from fear. Everything they do is from fear and greed. They are also source creation, and they represent the dark side of humanity. That's what they represent. They represent the dark. Kalut unmareka. So they challenged me to send the Christ light to them too, because part of them is still source, and they're learning in their own way, which is very hard for us to understand because it causes a lot of pain, right? Lots of pain and discord. But we're coming into a time where those frequencies will no longer be tolerated at all, and they won't be able to operate here, and not even in the solar system. So they are actually, this is what they've shown me, is that they are being invited to choose love. And then if they don't, they will have a different experience somewhere else in a different dimension. So that's what we're coming into. And the masters wanted to share also that they wanted to commend the light emissaries, the light workers, because we have done so much work to anchor the 5D light, the Christ light here, that we've gotten to a certain phase that we have completed. And they were bringing this through as I'm sort of reflecting at this, the end of this 9-year cycle, the end of the year. They were showing me what has been completed, and it is a lot to be commended for. And it's hard also sometimes because we're like, well, I wish we could see more of that evident globally, right? Because social media only shows you a fraction of what's actually happening. The mass media are the same. You can only get pictures and bites. But if you actually tune in to the actual frequency on Gaia now, it's so high. Kalush unmarika. And what happens is, like we're talking about the duality of this kind of constant balancing act of the light and the dark. We're moving beyond that also, because when you go into 5D, you're coming into full acceptance. You're coming into balance, coherence. So you can still have light and dark in a 5D, so to speak, but it's all elevated and is much more balanced. They're just bringing in a lot of energy without sound. So all is well. So that message, the essence of the message they're just dropping in is just continue to choose love, continue to have faith that others can also choose love. Malino shonora, no being is too far over. Mayono. Tasinore. Kalinaro. And yes, invite in the Christ light to all of these places that need balance. Continue to do that is so important. Still got work to do. Don't misunderstand the work to be done. But a lot has been achieved. So thanking all the light workers worldwide for everything you've done, and continue to hold and anchor for all of us. Thank you. And thanking Gaia for putting up with us. Gaia, really, though. Gaia, we love you. We just bless you. And she receives the Christ light too, of course. Yeah. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent and a message at the same time, but just wanted to drop that straight in. Wow.
You don't need to apologize. Okay. We flow with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm being reminded too of the fact that the actions of the ego and the consciousness do not necessarily reflect the nature of the soul. And I've seen this in my work. I've read plenty of other folks too who have explored this topic, that some of the most villainous characters in your life can be the most beloved and close souls to you, and they choose to come in and to play this role for you, to help you with your growth, to provide you with those experiences and those lessons that you have chosen. And it's so hard for us because we are, especially if it is someone close to us, right? You're dealing with the emotions of that, and there's no getting past the difficulty of the physical experience. And yet when you do take that step up and you look at it from that higher perspective, you can at least start to understand that the picture is so much bigger, and and you can tune into that soul's higher self, and you can ask for some clarity on maybe your relationship, or ask your own higher self to give you some insight into that. And
Yeah.
I think that that's important to remember as well, is that it's not always what you see on the surface is what is that soul's energy frequency.
Yeah. And I do recommend that those conversations that you can have with your higher self and another person's higher self are very transformative. I've had many sessions with clients where that has completely shifted things in a relationship. And it is amazing to get the follow-up emails, a week or so later of like, you will not believe what happened. And there's still, this person, like, I've got so many of these stories. You do work with a parent, say, that you're completely disconnected with, and then they call you, they send you a letter, they get some communication, and it's completely out of character for them to behave that way or speak that way, and they're blown away every time. So I highly recommend that kind of work. It's very, very powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've experienced the same. This is working through the quantum. This is working on a different level, and that will affect the physical in one way or another. And sometimes it is dramatic, other times it's not. And remembering that you're dealing with that other person's free will as well, and so you aren't going to be bypassing that by like going to the higher self. Like, it's not like, talking to the boss or something like that. It's not that sort of an exchange. You still are respecting that person's free will and their sovereignty, but you can definitely tap into some really powerful and profound changes working in that way, especially if you don't have that physical connection. Maybe it is someone you're not talking to, or you aren't able to talk to. You can work in that deeper level and be open and curious to see what changes can happen.
Yeah. And sometimes those processes, they free both of you, whether there's a distinct outcome or not. There is this energetic freeing. And even just the conscious process of the client going through that, like the client speaking their truth, the client feeling heard, that space held, just sometimes that I feel is very transformative. And as you say, sometimes it's with people maybe that have passed over, and there's still some unfinished business between you that's still impacting both souls. And so again, it can free both of those people to continue with their soul journey wherever that may be. Because when we work with energy, we're working in the quantum state, and it's very, very fast. Like, the processing of energy is very quick. Sometimes when it's coming through the human, it can be a bit slower because we're operating at a different frequency. But yeah, I love the quantum. It gets things done.
Truly. Yeah. Well, we are about at the hour here. I'm curious if there's any other messages from the masters, or anything else that is wanting to come through for us today before we go.
I'm happy to tune in quickly at the end. I just wanted to also looking into the chat. If anyone has a question as well, I'm happy to answer any question that might be coming up for someone. So don't be shy with questions if you have one.
Absolutely.
Come up. I'm going to close my eyes. So Jake, if there's a question that comes up in the chat, just let me know.
I will.
So I'm just asking the Council of Shambhala, which is the group of ascended masters that I work closely with, and they're coming in around in a circle, and the Elohim are also present. The Elohim are 12th dimensional creator beings, and I've been working very closely with them, so they're very present. Tukuyen Nura, Mayo Tuyen. And they're just bringing in this beautiful golden light, just gold, gold, gold. Beautiful, radiant, warm gold light. And I'm just getting this overall sense of like everyone receiving this, watching this, like allow this time, the holiday time, to the best of your ability. Give yourself space and time to rest, to restore, and to just take care of yourself in any way that is best suited for you. Because those of us, especially working with energy, working in the quantum, we're very busy in our daily lives and in our dream time. We're always working, so to speak. And they're just emphasizing that rest is not a reward. Rest is a requirement for being a healthy being. Tanush unare. And so they're just sending out their love to just encourage that self-compassion, gentleness. Thank you. Now, this is very gently, they're bringing this in. They're saying, I'm laughing because they bring a bit of humor into you will need rest to prepare for the next year. There will be a lot of changes, a lot of shifts next year in 2026. Positive ones, yes, but some you may find to be a bit, what's that word? Some upheaval, okay? Upheaval. But please trust that all is well. And you are so supported and so loved. Tilinosh unare. The changes are good. They're so good. They're always leading us along that golden path. They call it the golden earth. Yes, thank you. And then they show me the horse, the stallion, because we're going into the year of the horse. And it's just, that horse is just galloping full speed ahead. Everything is full speed ahead now, they're saying. Shunura kanure, musike nuran tikuanala iantura. Oh, we bless you. We bless you. We love you. Thank you for receiving us this day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Is there any insight into the changes that might happen in the coming year?
I sense them energetically, like, so hard to translate how I receive it. So I feel there's like at least 2 or 3 upheavals, like as in something that gets global attention. That's what they're saying, you know, like something that it sort of affects everyone in some way. One of them feels like more of a natural release, like a, like a volcano or just some Gaia releasing, Gaia shifting. Kukanor lit una. And one financial. Ura. And this is okay because it's part of the reset. Okay. The energy has shifted so beautifully now. But of course, there are still big adjustments to be made. Yes. And again, beautiful light emissaries. It is your role to stay in love as much as humanly possible and to trust in God, trust in God's source. Have that perspective, that higher perspective, the big picture of what is occurring. And show kindness. Yes, this is a thing they want to end on, is that many, many, many new awakenings will occur. Like lots of people in the collective are going to wake up again in big groups. and some of them will be in fear about it. They will not understand what is happening to them. Talush unnat, their hearts will be opening, their third eyes will be opening, they'll be having experiences, and you will be aligned with those people so you can be that shining light, that guiding light to them. And that is also part of your role, is to go, hey, I've walked this, and hey, can I hold, do you want me to hold your hand through this part? Because I've been through it. Tanmush ukalin, in a very human way. Ukuyan. Many hearts opening to the light, which is definitely something to celebrate. Yes. And just at the end, they're just showing me more cosmic light, more angelics, more cosmic being, like all of this assistance just pouring in more and more. That's just the last thing they showed me. Wow. That was amazing. They're like all hands on deck. Everyone is here. Everyone is present. Wow. That was amazing. Sorry, I've gone a bit over time there. Didn't mean to take up more time.
This is our show. We can do what we want.
Oh, good.
I love that message around bringing the love and bringing the kindness came through, because Carol was also asking about the best way to have a stress-free holiday with your family. And I really think that this is returning to love and kindness and compassion as often as you can. And that might be compassion for yourself and taking a step back, like going to the bathroom and taking an extra long bathroom break to like reset or clear that energy off of yourself if things are getting tense or something like that. But I definitely have found for myself personally that the more that I can relinquish control and do my best to stay in love, that helps smooth things over. It's usually when I'm like trying to control the outcome or make someone agree with me or make someone understand my perspective, or the non-engagement and sending love can definitely smooth things over. And that's been some of my favorite tools as I have been navigating like conversations with people who are not on the same page as me, is like just non-engagement. Like, you just don't answer, you don't engage, you don't feed it, and things will shift, and
you can
go on a different direction and bring the conversation somewhere you'd like. Don't feed that energy of stress or angst or anxiety. And I think especially with where everyone is right now, and I say everyone, I mean, we're all going through it in different ways, but I think there's a lot of people who are feeling very hopeless, feeling very disempowered and disconnected. And we want to not absorb that. We want to not feed into that and help that grow. We want to feed the positive, feed the light, feed the love.
Yes. I'm hearing about the not feeding, and that's sometimes really hard, because the reality is that like when you're stepping into it, like a family environment, you all have these cords of light that you're attached to each other, right? And it's interesting to witness that you can just fall into the dynamic of how we operate as a family. Just as an example, right? It just, out of no one's conscious effort, there's just this patterning that occurs. So this person talks to that person like that. Your role is that. I always see you as that. That's the only thing I see you as. This always triggers me in that way. You always trigger me in that way. And it literally is a pattern that you just fall into, right? So one is to acknowledge that, yes, that could happen, because it generally does unconsciously. The other thing I'll say is that if you're going into especially a family situation where there's a very high chance of getting triggered, feeling very emotional and lots of stuff coming up for you, is to set yourself up to succeed. So have those little emotional supports already ready to go. Like if you imagine you have a bag of your bag of tricks and you're like, okay, well, if this person triggers me like that, like you said, going straight to the bathroom, I'm going to watch 5 cat videos, okay, to get me in a different state of mind. Whatever it is, doesn't matter what it is. Preferably choosing healthy coping mechanisms, like preferably. Have those things like ready to go. Like actually prepare the best you can, so you have them ready to go. You can access them if those things are going to happen. The other thing I can recommend, because we've been talking about the Christ light, and I do this quite often, I ask the Christ light to be sent ahead into that situation. So I say, I'm getting into the car, about to go to a family event. I get in the car. I'm asking the Christ light to create this golden path of light to and around this complete event, the whole day, the whole family, the whole whoever's going to be there. I send the Christ light ahead to create harmony, to create peace, to create unity, and then ask for it around yourself. You can see it as a golden light. I say, I call upon the Christ light to enfold me now and to stay with me throughout the day and throughout the night. And I want the Christ light with me so I can hold my peace. That's the energy I want it to hold for me. Just try it out and just see if it has an impact. I'm not going to say I guarantee, but I'd be surprised if it didn't have some impact. Send the Christ light ahead, place it around yourself, and then it creates a frequency of harmony. And what happens is those higher frequencies of the Christ light, they usually disrupt those other patternings. They disrupt it, or they make it harder for those patterns to just play out. That's another part of the gift of the Christ light. It dissolves. It brings that divine grace. I hope that makes sense.
Oh, it totally does. And I'll add a layer to that as well, because one of the things that I think is really great to do is visualizing how things are going to go well, whether sitting in meditation or doing it in the shower, or like wherever works for you to like get in that zone, get in that energy, and imagine, what is that dinner going to be like if everything went so perfectly smoothly and everyone was well behaved and everyone loved each other and the food was great and we had a great time, and like really build up the different sensations too. Think about how you feel, like how full your stomach is because the food was so good, and how much your cheeks hurt because you've been laughing so much. And
that's a good one.
The music,
when your body hurts from laughing, I love, that's a good one to tap into.
And really build up those sensations, tap into that and hold that, and do that a couple times leading up to that event or that moment. And that can set the groundwork. And, this is the root of the future work that I do. You tap into that timeline and you say, this is the one I want. And you tell that to the universe, and you anchor that energy to you. And then you can move towards that easier. And it's not a perfect solution. There might still be bumpiness. There might still be those opportunities. You're working with a bunch of other people who all have free will as well, but don't underestimate the power that you hold, both in bringing that Christ light in, but also in really creating your reality and building that reality you want.
Yeah. And coming from that place of empowerment, like I am a being, I create. And sometimes, and it's also that trusting in God's source. I trust God to take care of this, and I trust that all will be well. And you might find, like, again, with the example of like a family gathering, maybe things are orchestrated in a way where though a particular person or people that you're expecting to meet up with, they don't arrive. For whatever reason, they were not meant to show up in that space because the energy changed. Yeah. So have faith that the divine knows that all is well, and the divine is always the one in control, so to speak. Like, trust in that divine intelligence. I always say this, like the divine intelligence that created all of the life on Earth. Like, if you just think about the biodiversity on Earth, all the animals, all the plants, and then all of space and all of the universe, like that is everything. The creator created every single thing through that divine intelligence. Like, can you trust that? Can you trust in that intelligence? I think you can. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Wonderful stuff. Well, before we go, I know we're just taking everyone's time, but who can stop talking? This is a wonderful conversation. I pulled a couple cards as you were bringing through that last message from the masters, and well, I pulled one card and then the other card was on top, and then you mentioned it. So the first card that came out is this one here. Here, I'll highlight myself here. This is from the Wisdom of the Buddha deck, which it just jumped out to me and I was like, yeah, this one wants to come. The message on this is, on the happy path. There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path, said the Buddha. And I noticed the two fish, and as a Pisces, like I'm thinking about the Pisces ebb and flow energy. And as we first dropped into that transmission, and you were bringing through the Master's energy, I was just kind of swaying, and then you joined me in swaying, and I was getting this visual of like the ebbing and flowing of the water, and that really like emphasized that idea of taking that rest and taking the energy when it flows, like moving with the
Yeah.
energetic flows, and recognizing when you need to take that step back and protect protect your stores. That was another message that I saw today from some random video. They were talking about, not spending all your energy right now because you won't have any for the new year, and it's about conserving your stores during the winter. The other card that came through was the horse, of course. And I love this one because it says, riding the winds of change. Whatever is not yours, let go of it. And what a just spot on perfect message for this moment. We're stepping into that year of the horse, and I think most of us are feeling some level of release, whether it be conscious or unconscious, whether it be energetic or physical or literal or metaphoric. We're all experiencing it differently, but letting go of what baggage we don't need, so we can be that racehorse, as Corbin is saying, be that racehorse, like running ahead, like excited and just with that energy. So those cards were the ones that wanted to come out.
Of course, they're perfect. Yeah. And that horse just riding so free, so just free. That freedom, I think, is one of those key theme words for 2020. It's just freedom.
And he's like up in the clouds, he's not even on the solid surface of the earth. I think there's this like almost like dancing on air, or like floating on air is the phrase that's coming to me. I love it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Very. All right. Well, this was such a wonderful, beautiful conversation, Lauren, and thank you for bringing through the messages and the light language and all of that beautiful energy and consciousness for us. I know everyone else is appreciating it in the chat. Any last messages or anything else you want to share before we go, Lauren? I'll pull up your website as well. Anything coming up for you?
No, I think that was it. That last message was pretty much what they wanted to bring through. I just, again, just want to express my gratitude to you for holding this space so we can have these conversations. And thank you, Corbin, for all your beautiful love and support. Just thank you for your presence. And just sending out those Christ-like blessings to everyone who is watching this and receiving this beautiful audience in the chat. And thank you for receiving. Thanks for being present with us. Yeah. So appreciate it. And just happy holidays. Happy holidays, and be in love.
Truly. Happy holidays to you all, and grateful for you all. It's been a wild year, I think, for most of us, and it's just beautiful to have community coming around and connections being made, and it's a beautiful time to be alive. And I hope that more and more people are realizing that and awakening to that fact, because it is, and we might still have the surface level darkness playing out, but you can feel it, right? You can feel the shift, and you can feel the positive energy. And so tap into that, remember that even in those dark holiday moments, and you'll make it through, I promise. And if you need, feel free to go to Lauren's YouTube channel and listen to any of her activations or transmissions if you need an uplifting moment, or you need to be shaken out of whatever energy you're in. And of course, if you need more support from either of us, feel free to go to Lauren's site. You can book one-on-ones with her. I highly recommend Lauren. She's just, as you can tell, we spent some time together, a wonderful soul. And then, of course, if you want to book with me, head on over to my website. You can find more information as well as the bookings. And I do still have the 10% off for all of my one-on-one services for the month of December, because I love you all and I wanted to give a little gift. So sending you guys love, happy holidays, and we'll all see you soon. Bye, all.
Bye, everyone.